What if the most intriguing moments in a star's life never make the headlines? What if the real story is hidden between the roles, the red carpets, and the silent glances behind the scenes? Welcome to Red Carpet Revealed, where secrets are uncovered and whispers become stories. Get ready to dive into the untold truths about Gong Yoo and Soo Jung, facts so surprising, they might just change everything you thought you knew. Let's discover them. Right now, how much do we really know about the actors we admire? We follow their careers, memorize their roles, and analyze every red carpet glance. But the real stories, the quiet truths, they often remain hidden, just out of reach. That's especially true when it comes to Gong Yoo and Soo Jung, two of South Korea's most enigmatic stars. Their on-screen charm is undeniable. Their chemistry in Finding Mr. Destiny still lingers years later. And yet, even as their careers evolve separately, rumors, whispers, and subtle cues continue to suggest a connection far deeper than we've ever seen. So what are the facts we never knew? And which ones can we only guess? Let's begin with their first meeting, a moment almost entirely undocumented. Contrary to popular belief, it didn't begin on the set of Finding Mr. Destiny. According to a casting assistant from the early 2000s, Gong Yoo and Soo Jung briefly crossed paths during a commercial shoot audition in Seoul, years before they became household names. He had just finished supporting roles in School 4, she was still transitioning from modeling into acting. Neither got the part, but those who were there said he lingered to talk with her after the audition. No photos, no media. Just two unknowns, already drawn to each other. Fast forward to 2010. The year they finally shared the screen in the quirky romantic comedy Finding Mr. Destiny. While the film itself was lighthearted and whimsical, the behind-the-scenes atmosphere was reportedly far more intense. Gong Yoo, having just returned from military service, was adjusting to a public life again. Soo Jung, known for her emotional depth, was navigating pressure to maintain her indie credibility in a mainstream rom-com. It wasn't always easy. Production insiders describe a kind of charged creative tension between them. They didn't talk much between takes, one crew member recalled. But once the cameras rolled, it was like the room changed. They had something undeniable, but very controlled. The director later admitted in an interview that several scenes were reworked to accommodate the unexpected intimacy in their performance. They were supposed to be quirky and awkward, he said, but it came off as romantic in a different way. Mature. Familiar. Almost like they knew something the audience didn't. Which brings us to one of the most enduring stories, the 2015 awards night incident. The two stars were both attending a private after-party for a film awards ceremony. Fan-captured footage showed Gong Yoo approaching Soo Jung during the dinner, placing his hand lightly on her shoulder. She smiled, one of those rare, half-shy smiles that fans still talk about online. A lip reader claimed he said, "You're glowing tonight." True or not, the video trended for days, sparking a renewed wave of are they or aren't they speculation. Neither star acknowledged the clip. The moment disappeared into the usual flood of celebrity news. But for longtime fans, it became something more, a breadcrumb. And then there's the missed project that may have changed everything. In 2017, both actors were reportedly offered the lead roles in a psychological romance drama. The showrunner hinted in interviews that she had written the story with two specific actors in mind. A pair who had unresolved emotional weight from a past collaboration. Everything seemed set, but one of them pulled out. The project was shelved. Rumors swirled that Gong Yoo had concerns about being too closely associated with Soo Jung again. Others say it was her who hesitated. Of reigniting media attention. Whatever it was, the writer said, "We lost something beautiful." What's perhaps even more intriguing are the shared habits and rituals both actors quietly keep, often without realizing how similar they are. Gong Yoo has spoken about his habit of drinking herbal tea before every script read. Soo Jung, in a completely separate interview, shared that she always starts a new project with a tea ceremony to cleanse emotion. Neither has ever mentioned the other in these anecdotes, but the parallels are uncanny. Both are known for disappearing after projects, retreating from social media, vanishing from public life. Have been described by peers as introverts with fierce emotional cores. And both have a small circle of friends, most of whom never speak to the press. And then there's the bookstore connection. A fan once claimed to have spotted the two in the same independent bookstore in Seoul, on two separate occasions, months apart. In both instances, they were seated in the same hidden back corner. No interaction, no drama. Quiet reading, alone. But if true, it suggests something unspoken, a pattern. A sanctuary. As the 2010s progressed, the two actors carved distinct paths. Gong Yoo dominated in blockbuster films and genre-defining dramas. Soo Jung chose quieter, more experimental roles. But even as their careers diverged, interviews would occasionally hint at someone unnamed, someone who offered grounding, support, inspiration. In a 2018 magazine profile, Gong Yoo was asked if he believed in timeless connection. His reply: "Some people stay with you, even if they're not visible. Part of the allure is that they've never publicly acknowledged anything beyond friendship. There's no couple photo, tabloid confirmation, no official denial. Exist in the gray space of speculation, not because they crave mystery, but perhaps because they value what's real too much to risk exposing it." And now, more than a decade after finding Mr. Destiny, fans still ask for a reunion, not just professionally, but narratively. They want closure, continuation, or at least confirmation. Maybe that's not the story Gong Yoo and Soo Jung are telling. Maybe the real story lies between the interviews, beneath the headlines, in the silence of things they never say. Let's keep guessing. Because sometimes, not knowing is what keeps the magic alive. Something about a mystery that lingers, not just because we want answers, but because the questions say more about us than the facts ever could. That's why the story of Gong Yoo and Soo Jung continues to captivate, even without resolution. Let's talk about the vacation theory. In 2019, Gong Yoo posted a series of photos from a foggy cliffside overlooking Icelandic waters. A week later, Soo Jung appeared in a magazine shoot, filmed in what looked suspiciously like the same location. Fans matched rock formations, shadows, even distant buildings. The timing was off by a few days, but not enough to rule out coincidence. Both stars gave no comment. Travel logs, of course, are easy to hide. But to fans, it was the perfect romantic myth, two souls reconnecting in solitude, away from the spotlight. Frozen skies and open water. Another often whispered fact is the existence of an unpublished screenplay, written by a mutual friend, tailored specifically for them. The script, tentatively titled Before We Forget, was reportedly a quiet, minimalist love story. Only two characters. A single setting. No flashbacks. No fanfare. Just conversation between two people who once shared something deep but walked away from it. A producer who read the draft called it emotionally devastating. But it was never made. Some say it hit too close to home. Others say it was too intimate to fake. One industry insider claimed, it wasn't about whether they could act it. It was whether they could survive it. Then there was the interview that said everything, without saying a word. In a 2021 sit-down for a fashion magazine, Soo Jung was asked about vulnerability. She paused, smiled softly, and replied, "I think being seen, truly seen, is terrifying. When one person sees you and doesn't turn away. That's love." Weeks later, Gong Yoo appeared on a variety show. About people who stayed with him, he said, "There's one. We don't talk often, but I carry her voice with me, especially when I'm unsure." Again, no names. But the fans didn't need them. What makes these fragments so compelling is how incomplete they are. They invite us in, they allow imagination to fill in the spaces, but they also force us to reflect on the nature of celebrity, connection, and the lives we project onto others. That's why Gong Yoo and Soo Jung remain magnetic, not just because of who they are, but because of who we imagine them to be. And still, the facts trickle in. A stylist who worked with both claimed they have matching wristwatches, gifted during a shared campaign in 2011. Journalist once spotted them exiting a charity auction, separately, but within minutes of each other. Their mutual love of poetry, their tendency to keep handwritten journals, even their dogs, rumored to have met on a quiet day in Han River Park. But none of these pieces confirm a relationship. Instead, they reveal a different kind of bond, one rooted not in performance, but in protection. A friendship, Maybe. A love, possibly, certainly something real. The truth, if we ever learn it, likely come not through headlines, but through silence, through the projects they choose, the stories they help tell, through the eyes that still search for each other across crowded rooms. In a world obsessed with visibility, perhaps the most radical thing you can do is hide what matters most. So let's not demand answers. Let's hold space for wonder. Let's celebrate the fragments, the flashes, the almosts. Because in the end, the most beautiful truths are often the ones that never need explaining. And as long as Gong Yoo and Soo Jung continue to move through this world quietly, thoughtfully, and perhaps, just maybe, together, we'll keep guessing and loving every moment.